Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Thank you so much for being here. We are going to jump right in on this video. I started with cooking, and in my wok there I just added mushrooms and fried them until golden browns, and I added the runner beans, and I added garlic scapes into my wok, and I continued into stirring them together up until I got to the point where I am satisfied with how they look. And then I added onion. I don't know why I added it last. Don't ask me, but it tasted really good. And then I added my chili, and I added my Chinese broccoli that I had blanched and frozen, and I squeezed out the liquids out of it, and I chopped it, and then I just added pasta in there, and I added balsamic vinegar, and then I added soy sauce into my wok. This is something that you've seen here over and over again, and I added yellow salt. This is a quick meal. I'm a queen of quick meals. And I added garlic powder into the wok. I added onion powder. I don't know which one is which one. And I added herbs, and then I continued into stirring everything together. This is a quick meal, quick meal. Nothing hectic. I would often cook this when I am busy, or when I don't have time, or when I'm just lazy. When I don't want to stand behind the stove for more than 30 minutes. This is what I cook, and that's exactly what I cooked on this day. It was quick, it was done, and it was ready to be served. I think my family is used to this now. They're used to this kind of quick meals, and this is how dinner looked on that day. Quick, simple, easy, and delicious. Thank you so much for being here. I always appreciate your presence. I appreciate your love, your support, and everything else. Thank you to new subscribers. Thank you to my returning subscribers, viewers. If you have not subscribed to the channel, kindly do so. It will help my channel to grow. And then on this one, we proceeded into making granola bars. Yes, we are making granola bars. Remember when I was doing my pantry restock, there were nuts that I mixed, or seeds and nuts that I mixed. So in here it's pecan nuts, it's cashew nuts, it's almond, it's walnuts, it's pumpkin seeds, sunflower seeds, the works. And I'm going to chop this roughly, nothing serious, just roughly up until like chunky. I'm going to chop it chunky to the sizes that I want, and we will continue with the next step after I do that. In my bowl there, I just measured those nuts that I chopped, 2 cups of them, and I proceeded into measuring 4 cups of oats and mixed them together. I like how it looks already, and I added about I don't know how to add it. Let's just say quarter cup of vanilla into the mixed in together. I didn't add any sugar. I'm trying to make this as healthy as possible, and then I mixed it in, making sure that everything it is well combined. And I added olive oil, not seeds oil, olive oil, virgin. Is it virgin? I don't know what to. Olive oil, the real Makoya one. That's all I'm gonna say. And then I proceeded into lining my pan. You can use anything you want. If you've got a casserole, you can do that. I used my baking pan, and then I transferred my granola into the pan. So this is basically granola. If you were making granola, you would have added maybe your cinnamon, you would have added maybe a little bit of sugar and all of that. But because I'm making granola bars, I'm not going to add any of those things. I don't want cinnamon in it, and I don't want sugar because I want it to be somewhat healthy. Yes, I'm trying to keep it healthy. I don't want to make it into a dessert or something. I just want to keep it healthy, so I'm not going to add sugar into it. And then I proceeded into my pan, into my stove. In my pan there, I just added frozen strawberries. My heart was broken. These were the last ones. And then instead of putting sugar, I added honey. Yes, I added honey. That's going to be my substitute for sugar. Remember, I told you that I'm trying to keep this as healthy as possible. This is going to be my binder for the granola. I think they say you can also use purees. I've never used it. I always use this method, and you can also do this with peach. And I added a little bit of lemon. This is basically jam, but I decided to use honey instead of sugar. It's going to be our binder, and I'm not going to let it cook up until it's thick where it becomes jam, because I want to be able to stir in the granola into it. And this is our granola back from the oven. I forgot to tell you that I'm going to put it in an oven at 180 degrees, and this is how it looks. It was almost burnt, but it's okay, it looks fine. It's okay. And this is our binder. That's how it looks. You can see that it's still slightly watery there. And then I proceeded into adding my granola into there. I didn't wait for them to cool down. It's not necessary, because what if the binder cools down, it's gonna get sticky. It will be difficult to deal with. So I mixed everything together while both of them are still warm, and I'm going to put it in a fridge. So there was no need for it to cool. Plus I wanted to be able to for the binder not to stick. I don't know if I'm making sense or something, but yeah. And then this is, I just took out a casserole, and I'm going to put the granola or the mixture into the casserole, lined it with a baking paper, and then I'm gonna put everything into there, press it down. Remember, we are making bars, so everything needs to be compacted. Is it English? Those who know English can correct me. So that's how I am doing it, transferring everything in there, and started pressing it down up until I felt that it was firm. That's what we are going to do. I was actually surprised of the binder or the jam with using honey, that it actually tasted really good. So if I wanted jam and I want to be off sugar, though honey or processed sugar, I would use honey next time. I think, is it processed or refined, whatever it is. And this is how it looks after being pressed down. I like those chunks of strawberries. It makes my heart flutter. So Later that night, I proceeded into preparing to make bread for tomorrow. This is the simplest bread ever. In each bowl, I just measured 3 cups of bread flour, and then I proceeded into measuring half a teaspoon of yeast in each bowl. Yes, one would ask, why am I using 2 bowls? It will make sense as we continue. And then in 500 mils of lukewarm water, I added 2.5 teaspoon of Himalayan salt and stir it in. We know that it's not going to be dissolved completely, so that half, I just figured that's the half that normally stays at the bottom and really doesn't, dissolve to the level that I want. But that's what I measured: 2.5 teaspoon of salt into the water, and then I proceeded into mixing the flour and the yeast together. This is simple, no effort whatsoever. And I put half of the water into each bowl, like basically a cup and a cup. And I proceeded into measuring another cup, which I'm going to spread between the 2 bowls. So each bowl will be 1.5 cup of water. So if we were to say what is the recipe, I would say 3 cups of bread flour, half a teaspoon of yeast, 1 teaspoon of Himalayan or sea salt, and 1.5 cup of lukewarm water. That's how you mix it, not over mixing, shaggy, like rough. That's how you mix it. It doesn't have to be perfect. You don't need it. You don't over mix it. We want that imperfection on it. It should look like that. That was the last part of the water. Remember, I poured 1 cup first, and then now I just added the remaining half a cup, and that's how it looks. Now this is a part where I made a mistake. All my white dish towels were in the washing machine, and I had these ones that had color, so I did not dampen them. You're supposed to dampen them to make them damp. I didn't. I'll tell you why I say it was a mistake. Ne? I did not dampen them because I felt like they were going to leave color on my dough, because you're supposed to press it, not press it, but put it on top of the dough. So as you saw me there, I just took a bowl. You see what I mean? There's a thick skin on top. You can see that. That's not how it's supposed to be. If my dish towel was damp, it wasn't going to look like that. But it's not a big problem. It wasn't a problem. It still worked. It's still okay. It still tasted good. There was nothing wrong with it. But I don't think you should do how I do it. You should dampen your dishcloth, and this is how you shape it. You literally just put it, transfer it on the counter, and start forming a bowl, pulling the sides into the middle, and that's it. That is it. Then we're going to transfer it into our lined bowl. The reason for that is so that you can just pick it up when you go and bake it. This is how it looks. And then we proceeded into shaping the second loaf. So basically 3 cups of this bread will give you 1 loaf of bread. So this was on the counter from last night. 8:30 up until 9 a.m. around 9 to 9:30 a.m. in the morning. That's when I started shaping it, and after shaping it, I'm going to leave it for 30 minutes on the counter again, while I preheat my oven. And in there I'm going to put my cast iron. You can only use cast iron. If you don't have cast iron, I don't know how this is going to work out. So this is my granola bar the following day. That's how it looks, nice and firm. I was happy with it. Happy. I didn't do the happy dance, but I was happy with it. That's how it looks. If you want to make it into a treat, this is after cutting it. You can dunk it into hot melted chocolate. Oh, I love hot chocolate. Can you hear me saying hot chocolate? But it is hot chocolate, but not that hot chocolate. You can dunk it into melted chocolate, and it can serve as a treat, you know. So that's how I made it, and then I'm cutting it into sizes that I think they are okay. I didn't count how many they were in there. And then I took out my wax paper and proceeded into wrapping the granola bars into packages. Is it packages or into form of a candy type of thing? Yeah, that's what I did. But you will see in the video there's a method that worked and others didn't work. This was my first time wrapping it. Normally I'll just put it in a container in a fridge, and whoever wants to have some, they can have. You don't have to put it in a fridge. You can put it in a container and put it in a cool environment away from direct sunlight, and it will be okay. So I packaged it in this way, which is going to be easy for someone to just grab and go. This is the cast iron from the oven after 30 minutes, and then I'm going to transfer one loaf into the pot. It needs to be hot. The pot needs to be hot. That's why you can only use cast iron, and then you can score it. I don't have a scorer. I use a knife instead of a scorer, so that's how I am scoring it. And I'm going to put the lid on and put it back into the oven. Once that is going in there, I'm going to I put it in the oven for 10 minutes. The bread is gonna go in the oven for 10 minutes with the lid on, and then another 10 minutes without the lid on. Okay, so I just put the granola bars into a container, and these ones we're going to take them home. We are going home later tonight, so this is what we're going to take, though I know we won't finish them, but that's what we're going to take. So after 10 minutes, this is how the bread looks. After 10 minutes in an oven at 180 degrees. Now we are going to put it back into the oven for another 10 minutes to 13 minutes, and that's how it comes out. Nice, crispy, like as if I spent days and hours making it, and I didn't. So after I took that out, the pot is still hot, and I'm putting another one into the pot as well. It has been sitting on the counter for 1 hour now, so we are going to score it as well, to encourage the split. I haven't baked it without scoring it. I don't know if it will split or not if I'm not scoring it, but I prefer to encourage it. Hopefully next time one loaf I will try and put it without scoring it, and then I'm going to put it back into the oven. Never ever ever touch your pot without a dish towel or what. Don't, you will get burnt. And this is the second loaf. That's how it looks. We are now putting it back into the oven, and this is that other one after cooling down, nice and cooled, and that's how it looks underneath. And we're going to set it aside, and this is the second loaf. We were done. 2 loaves. This is basically, it's if you were to ask me how long it takes to make it, 18 hours, 12 hours of sitting on the counter, and an hour of preparing it, 30 minutes of preparing it, and an hour of baking, and then plus or minus there, but there's no effort whatsoever. That's the second loaf. That's how it looks, and I'm going to let them cool there on the counter. That's how they look. We had this with tea and jam. That was our breakfast. I had taken down our bedroom curtains, and I am just hanging it. I didn't take you guys with me on that one, because as you guys know, I'm short. I asked my husband to do it for me, and I chose not to take a video of that. So I am hanging them. So when I made these curtains, they I chose to do a little bit of experiment. Theo's bedroom once, I did not cut it into 2 pieces. I just sewed it as it is, and then the ones in my bedroom, I made them into 2 pieces because I felt like I wanted to be able to open it however I want to. I'm still going to try that. I don't know if it will work, but that's the main reason I did that. But they are the same size. The windows are the same size, and I made them into the same size. So Theo's bedroom ones, I did not cut it. I sewed it as it is, and the ones in our bedroom, I cut it into 2 pieces. So our bread has cooled down. Now we are going to cut it in and see how it looks inside. This is always nerve-wracking moment. Yeah, I always like seeing bubbles. Obviously this one is not gonna be like the other ones, but I was happy with the bubbles. I was happy with the color. I was happy with the visuals of it. I was happy with the bubbles. I was generally happy, and it was so delicious. Ka jam. I think you can make a sandwich out of this if you want to. I love things like this where I can just make, food at home that looks and tastes like they were made by a professional, yet it was just my damn self who made them, and they come out absolutely gorgeous. I love them. So earlier on I said we were going home on later that night, so I wanted scones for over the weekend. We already had granola. I try and minimize the spending whenever we travel, and I decided that I was going to make scones. And I couldn't find eggs in the stores. There was no eggs, so me being me, I improvised. I made eggless scones. So it's 6 cups of flour, 200 gram of rama, 1 cup of sugar, and then I added 5 teaspoon of baking powder, and I added 1 teaspoon of bicarbonate of soda. I did not add salt on this one because rama has salt already. It's salted, so I didn't add that. So I rubbed the butter into the flour, and I proceeded into adding the sugar, the baking powder, bicarbonate, and so on. And then I added 1 cup of inkomazi, and I also added 1 cup of ultramel. That was the secret ingredient, custard. You would ask me, why you say 1 cup when you're adding 2 cups? That red cup, my red cup, if you see me using it, know that it's half a cup, you know. So I mixed those in together. It was not enough. I proceeded into adding 1 more cup of amas, half a cup of amas, and half a cup of custard, and it was still not enough. I added the remaining of inkomas, and I added another half a cup of custard. So if you were to ask me, I would say in this measurement I used 1 3/4 cup of amas and 2 cups of custard, and they came out absolutely delicious. Now here's a funny part. I checked my phone when I was shooting this, and the footage was not there, and I did not take the final product of the picture of this. So there was not, I decided I'm not gonna, can't know it's there. So unfortunately on this vlog I'm not gonna show you guys how they came out, but on the next vlog that we will be at home, I will show you how they look. But they were delicious, but I would not advise you to make them and think that they can sit there for a few days. No, I think they will go off very quickly. Thank you for watching. See you next time.